They say the poor work for money and the wealthy make money work for them, but that's only scratching the surface. Because wealth, true wealth, doesn't begin with a dollar in your hand. It begins with a revolution in your mind. You see, poverty is not just a bank account. It's a belief system. And until you break free from it, you can work yourself into the grave and never touch freedom. But the moment you decide, not wish, not hope, but decide to think like the wealthy and act like the hungry, that's the moment everything begins to change. Because the wealthy don't chase money. They attract it. They don't wait for opportunity. They build it. They don't blame their circumstances. They command their future. While the average man waits for permission, the wealthy mind demands progress. And the hungry heart, it doesn't sleep. It doesn't settle. It doesn't stop when it's tired. It stops when the mission is done. You want to rise? Then listen closely. Because this is not a speech, it's a fire. And if there's even a single ember burning inside of you, this will turn it into an inferno. Let's start with this. You were not born to be average. You were born with a mind capable of bending the laws of reality. But the system never taught you that. No one told you your thoughts are seeds, that what you plant, you eventually harvest. Instead, they told you to play it safe, fit in, stay in line, take what you're given. And now you wonder why your life feels like a script you didn't write. But here's the truth. Your thoughts are the architects of your fate. Every fortune ever built, from Edison's electric light to Carnegie's empire of steel, started as nothing but an idea, invisible, untouchable, unreal, until it was made real by a mind that refused to doubt. You want wealth? Then stop chasing money. Chase mastery. Chase impact. Chase the version of you who refuses to quit. And most importantly, guard your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Do you realize how easily the average person gives up control of their thoughts? Scrolling endlessly, comparing constantly, trading focus for distraction and purpose for validation. But the wealthy mind is a fortress. It knows that what you allow in will shape what comes out. They feed on clarity, not clutter. They read while others binge. They plan while others drift. They invest while others consume. And what fuels that? Belief. Not wishful thinking, but iron conviction. The kind of belief that stands in the face of doubt and says, I don't care what the world thinks. I know what I'm building. When Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, he didn't fold. He forged ahead. When Henry Ford went bankrupt twice, they said he was finished. But Ford wasn't driven by their approval. He was driven by vision. That's the power of belief. So ask yourself, do you believe in your vision more than they believe in your failure? Do you believe in it enough to be laughed at? Enough to be doubted, rejected, and still stand tall? Because belief without resilience is a sandcastle in a storm. The wealthy build from the inside out. They decide who they are long before the world agrees. And then they do the hardest thing most people never do. They get clear. Clarity is the rarest currency on earth. Because most people have a to-do list but know why. They chase status but never define success. But the wealthy, they don't move until they know exactly where they're going. They don't act until their vision is so vivid they can taste it. They write it down. They see it daily. They speak it into existence. And they refuse to settle for blurry intentions. Because they know a man without a clear vision will always serve one who has it. You want to rise? Then don't just set goals. Set standards. What are you no longer willing to tolerate in your life? What line will you never cross again? What future are you obsessed with creating? That's clarity. That's the compass. Now comes the fuel behind it all. Purpose. You can't fake it. You can't borrow it. You've got to dig deep and find your reason for being on this planet. Not someone else's dream. Not what your parents expected. Not what your peers applaud. Your fire. Your war. Your calling. The kind of purpose that drags you out of bed when everything hurts. The kind that makes failure just another lesson, not a verdict. The kind that turns pain into power and setbacks into stepping stones. You know why some people never quit? Because their vision isn't about them. It's bigger. It's louder. It pulls them forward when motivation dies. Purpose is what keeps the hungry hungry. It's what makes the wealthy stay sharp, even when they could coast. Because the real ones don't work for money. They work for meaning. They work to build something eternal. And now the bridge between all of it, between belief, clarity, and purpose, is discipline. Not hype, not inspiration, but cold, consistent, unglamorous discipline. The kind that makes you get up at 5 a.m. The kind that makes you study when you want to scroll. The kind that makes you work when no one's watching. Because you're not doing it for them, you're doing it because you must. Look around. Most people are addicted to comfort. They avoid struggle like it's poison. But the wealthy, they seek struggle. They understand that pressure creates diamonds, and discomfort is the tuition of greatness. Discipline is the silent architect of success. It's not exciting. It's not sexy. But it builds what motivation never could. It's what separated Lincoln from his doubters. What made Kobe shoot free throws before sunrise. What made Oprah rise from poverty to power. Because greatness isn't born, it's forged. And it's forged in the furnace of repetition, commitment, and sacrifice. You want to win? Then do the hard things, even when they're boring. Especially when they're boring. Because every rep builds resolve. Every rep builds identity. You are not your results yet, but your habits are casting the vote. And the question is, are you voting for the man you are or the one you could become? Every choice you make is a ballot cast. And day by day, vote by vote, you're electing your future self. Not with dreams, not with declarations, but with discipline, with action, with consistency. That's why the wealthy think differently. Because they know success is not an event, it's a system. A machine built out of habits, principles, and time. They don't wake up hoping the day will go well. They command the day. They move with intention because every second spent drifting is a second stolen from destiny. And how do they act? Like the hungry. You want to know the secret that separates the wealthy who stay wealthy from the ones who fall back into comfort? It's hunger, a fire that doesn't die when the fridge is full. A mindset that stays in the trenches even when the castle is built. Because the moment you stop being hungry, you start decaying. Hunger keeps you humble. It keeps you focused. It reminds you that what you've done is nothing compared to what's possible. The world remembers those who stayed hungry. Ali, who trained in the dark while his enemies slept. Jobs, who tore apart good enough to build great. Bezos, who ran a $1 trillion company with the same obsession he had in a garage. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. It's the soft bed where purpose goes to die. So stay hungry, not for applause, not for trophies, but for growth. Now hear this. Gratitude is not weakness. It's not passivity. It's the secret fuel of those who never burn out. Because when you combine hunger with gratitude, you unlock a mindset that is unstoppable. Gratitude isn't about settling, it's about seeing. Seeing clearly how far you've come, how blessed you are to even have the chance to build. How miraculous it is to be alive in this very moment, with all your scars, all your strength, and still one more shot to change everything. The wealthy know this. Gratitude doesn't slow you down. It anchors you. It keeps your ego in check. It reminds you that you didn't climb this far alone. That somewhere, somehow, someone sacrificed so you could be here. And that means you owe it to them and to yourself to go all the way. Adaptability. This is where many fall. Because when the plan breaks, when the storm hits, when the market turns, the average man collapses. But not the wealthy mind, not the hungry heart. Because they never married the plan, they married the mission. And the mission? That's non-negotiable. Plans will fail, strategies will evolve. But the vision never dies. That's why you must be fluid, not fragile. Like water, always moving, always adjusting, but always finding a way forward. You know who survives the jungle? Not the strongest, not the fastest, the most adaptable. When Ford's first car failed, he didn't curse the machine, he rebuilt it. When Netflix was laughed out of boardrooms, they pivoted until Blockbuster vanished. Adaptability is not surrender, it's strategic evolution. And behind it all, you must develop the one thing that most people lack in a world built for speed: resilience. Because the path to wealth, the real kind, the kind that feeds generations, is brutal. It will break you, test you, bury you in doubt. But if you rise again and again, if you endure when everyone else folds, you become unstoppable. Resilience is more than toughness. It's transformation. It's what turns failure into feedback, what turns pain into progress, what turns "I can't" into "watch me." Do you know what Lincoln endured before becoming president? 8 elections lost, multiple businesses failed, a nervous breakdown, and yet he refused to bow. Because he knew that setbacks don't define you, your response does. You've got to toughen your mind like steel, because life will swing at you, and when it does, you better be the one who gets back up with bloody fists and fire in your eyes. You better be the one who looks failure in the face and says, "You picked the wrong soul." And how do you sharpen that resilience? Through learning. The wealthy are obsessed with knowledge, not degrees, not credentials, but wisdom. Because they know the most expensive thing in the world is ignorance. They read, they ask, they listen, not because they don't know, but because they want to know more. Every lesson they didn't learn became a dollar they didn't earn, and they don't make the same mistake twice. Carnegie surrounded himself with thinkers. Rockefeller documented everything. Elon spends hours reading about rockets most people can't even pronounce. Because knowledge compounds, it multiplies. And in a world changing by the second, if you're not learning, you're dying. So upgrade your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. You want to stand with the giants? Then build your mind like a fortress, your heart like a furnace, and your habits like clockwork. Think like the wealthy, with precision, intention, and bold vision. Act like the hungry, with fire, with urgency, with relentless pursuit. This world owes you nothing, but you owe yourself everything. You were born to build, to create, to rise, and no man, no system, no failure can take that away unless you hand it to them. You want to change your life? Then don't just change your actions, change your identity. Every day, act in alignment with the future you've claimed. Walk like him, think like her, move like the version of you who already won. Because the world doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you are. So become the one they can't ignore. And when they ask how you did it, tell them, "I thought like the wealthy, and I acted like the hungry."